I'm Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for visiting with me today. So now that the school year is about to start, I thought I would start doing something that's always been near and dear to my heart. I just never incorporated it into my channel in any way because my channel's always been more geared towards adults. And it still is geared towards adults. These videos and the content I'm going to be talking about in this video is more for parents and educators or guardians, not so much educators. They already know what to do. Not to say parents don't know what to do, but I'm just saying that I want to offer tools to help parents with kids who are struggling to read or who don't like to read. I just want to put a big focus on reading, especially for younger people, kids, preteens, and young adults. And so what I was going to do is I'm going to do things like book recommendations. I'm going to do like, I don't know what I'm going to call all these things. I'm going to do spotlights on books. I'm going to talk about books I read when I was young that made me love reading. Because the thing about reading is, for your kids to get a love of reading, they have to read what they're interested in. Okay, they may not want to read The Most Dangerous Game. That may not be interesting to them. Find out what their interests are. If they watch certain television shows, if they like manga, get them some graphic novels. If they, sorry, I have an eye itch. Maybe they like ghost stories, or things like that. There are a lot of excellent books and series to introduce them to. There's a YouTuber, and I don't know how relevant she is today, but it's the Haunted of Sunshine Girl. She has a series of books that she wrote that would be great material for kids that like ghost stories because they're not overly um, sophisticated, and they're just nice to read. And to develop that love of reading, kids really need to read what they're interested in. Like, I was never given things I was interested in reading. Now, yes, when I was really young, I loved the Dr. Seuss books and all that. But as I got a little bit older, I was given books like Little Women and A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. And I know those are excellent books, and I read them now and I like them. But when I was that age, it was really boring material to me, and it didn't really do anything to foster a love of reading. When I was 11 years old, I got a hold of a copy, and this is not a book I recommend for 11-year-olds. But when I was 11 years old, 11, I was probably more like 12 or 13. I got a hold of, it's just all a blur. I got a hold of a copy of Carrie by Stephen King. Again, I do not recommend it for that age range, but I read that front to back in one day and absolutely loved it. Like, friends were calling, like, hey, you want to come over? I'm like, no, I can't, I'm reading. Like, what? And I loved that book, and that got me interested in well, for me, horror, like horror novels and stuff, which again, don't recommend for that age, but there are books in that genre for that age group. And I just want to kind of make videos maybe once or twice a week, focusing on reading and encouraging children to read, and kind of bring back, because I used to be a teacher, and one of the most challenging things for me was getting these kids not to read because they were younger kids, but to listen to a story I would read, because I could only read what was prescribed to me to read. And I think that children need more control over their choices, like, and what they read and stuff. We're not giving them control over every aspect of their life, but we need to give them a little control. We need to give them some choices over the material that they have. Of course, parents should monitor it and read it themselves and make sure that they feel it's appropriate for their kids. But we have to make sure children are being exposed to books that are interesting to them, so that they will develop a love of reading. So I want to just introduce books old and new, because I recommend The Outsiders for kids even today, like teenagers. That's an excellent book, I think, and I think it's relevant because it does involve, it's very dramatic, it's very sad, but it does involve like things kids may face today, maybe not to that degree or as serious as it is in this book, but just to know that there's material out there for them to read that's appropriate for their age. So anyway, The Outsiders, I think, is an excellent place to start for a young teenager who hasn't developed a love of reading yet. Give them that, or like tell them about it. Even have them watch the movie and be like, there's so much more in the book. That was another thing that got me to read Carrie. Was, I know people say don't watch the movie before you read the book. I saw the movie, and I had always heard like people in passing kind of say there's so much more in the book about various movies and stuff. So that's what made me want to read the book. And there's a lot more in the book. And so sometimes I think watching a movie before reading a book, especially for a kid, is a good idea because it may make them interested in that book. You know, Carrie, again, isn't a great example, but I'm just telling you where my love of reading started. So anyway, that's it. Just something I'm going to be working on for my channel, and I hope it's helpful to a lot of parents and educators out there. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye!